Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So you may have noticed I've not been on here for a couple of months now, and that is of course because I've had my baby. If you follow me on Instagram you would know that. So I wanted to film a couple of videos whilst I had a chance. It's so time consuming having a baby, so this is the first time I've really been able to sit down and film a video. My husband's home today, so he's looking after the baby whilst I film. Today's video is going to be my birth story. So for those of you that don't know, I had my baby 8 weeks ago on the 14th of January. We had a baby boy and his name is Jack. I went into labour 3 days early, so he actually arrived 2 days earlier than his due date. So I'll go into all of that anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to film a video and tell you sort of how it went, and when he wakes up I will show you him. Earlier on in my pregnancy I thought that I would be early, but then the later it got, the more and more I just thought no, it's not going to happen. First time mums usually are later, so I kind of towards the end, the last couple of weeks I was thinking I'm probably going to be late. I ended up getting a bit fed up, if I'm honest. I never thought I would be one of those people that were really impatient towards the end. I thought I'd really enjoyed being pregnant, and I didn't feel like I was in a massive rush for the baby to be here. Not that I didn't want him to be here, I was just quite happy sort of plodding along in my pregnancy. However, the last few weeks were actually quite tough. To get things moving, I actually did try the old wives' tales such as the curry and different things, and the last 2 weeks I did a lot of walking. So I would just in the day just take myself off and I'd maybe walk for a mile or so, and I think that did help because the more I did it the heavier I felt. I don't know if it definitely did, but I felt like it was helping sort of bring on the labour. So I was due on Saturday the 16th of January, and I started to have what I thought were contractions on the Wednesday before, and it was probably about 4 or 5 in the morning. My husband worked shift, so he wasn't home, and I just felt quite uncomfortable. So I didn't know 100%, but I kind of thought this might be labour. My husband was due to be home at 5 in the morning and then go back to work that evening. So I didn't want to tell him, just in case it wasn't labour. I didn't want him waiting up with me and then having to go and do a night shift. He went to bed. I went downstairs and just said, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, I'm going to go and sit downstairs and just watch some telly. So he went to bed about 5:30, and I went downstairs and I just put the TV on. I was downstairs for 5 hours, I think, 5 or 6 hours. And the longer it went on, the more and more I knew that it was labour. The contractions were coming more frequently. They were random, so I'd have one every 5 minutes for an hour, and then it would sort of die down to once every 20 minutes. So, but I was pretty sure it was labour. So it got to sort of 11:30, and my husband came down the stairs and I said, I think I'm in labour. I didn't know if I had to ring the birthing centre to let them know that I was in labour, so I did that. So I gave them a call, said, I think I'm in labour, just to let you know. And they said, well, come in, we'll assess you because you're a first time mum. We'll just check you over, make sure everything's okay, make sure you are in labour, and see how you are. So the pain wasn't that bad at this point, it was just really uncomfortable. We then drove to our local birthing centre, and like I said, I was uncomfortable, but it wasn't unbearable at this point. It just felt like cramping. I was assessed at around 5:30, and I was only 3 centimetres. They said I could stay in if I wanted to. They normally don't take you in until 3.5, or I could go home and carry on at home. And because it was quite cold and I wasn't in lots of pain, I said, well, I'll go home and come back later. It got to around 9 o'clock and the pain started getting quite bad at this point. I said to my husband, right, let's ring them, tell them what sort of pain I'm in and see what they say. And they did say come back in. So we went in, got in for about 9:45 and was assessed again. So I was thinking, I've done hours at home, I'm definitely going to be further than, I'm going to be quite dilated. I was only 4 centimetres dilated, so at this point I felt quite disheartened. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be here for a really long time. She said, you're 4 centimetres, so stay in, just go in one of our rooms and just carry on as you are. So we went into one of the birthing rooms, and it was the room that I wanted to go in. There's only 2 birthing rooms in this local birthing centre, and I chose the room that I wanted to go in, where there was a pool in the room, but the toilet was actually down the hallway. And when you're in labour, well, when I was in labour, I felt like I constantly needed to go to the toilet, and walking down a corridor when you're having contractions is so uncomfortable that I went to the midwives and I said, actually, can I move rooms? So they then moved us to another room, and that was probably about sort of 10:30. And then I decided I needed something more than just trying to get through it myself. So I had a TENS machine. If you don't know what a TENS machine is, I don't know exactly how it works, but you put pads on your back and it sends almost like electric shocks up your back. And for me, it was so good. It's very 50-50, so when some people love it and some people just don't think it works for them, but for me, I feel like it really did do something. Even if it was a distraction from the pain, I felt like it worked. I had that on about 10:30, and we were in this other room. So the other room had a huge bed. It was almost like a double bed, so my husband and I were just on that. And then next to that room, you had a room attached to it that had the pool in, and then next to the pool was a toilet, so that was perfect. I led in the bed, I had the TENS machine on, and I kind of just led there and went through every contraction. In my head before labour, I thought that I was going to be able to visualise things and distract myself that way from the contractions, but if I'm honest, the pain was quite bad that I couldn't visualise anything. All I could think was, I need to get through each contraction. So every time a contraction came, I felt like, okay, it's coming. It peaked at its highest and that was really painful, and then it went back down. So I was just trying to get through each contraction. Then it got to, so at 10 o'clock after they assessed me, they said, we're not going to assess you now till 2 in the morning, and we won't come in very much because you're dealing with it quite well. We'll just come in as and when. So that was fine. So they left. And I was then thinking, you're not going to assess me till 2 in the morning. How am I going to go that amount of time? If I have a contraction every 5 minutes, or at this point it was every couple of minutes, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I didn't say anything. They left, and it got to midnight, and I just thought, I can't do this with just the TENS machine. It was getting so painful. I just had so much pressure in my pelvis. So I asked for gas and air, and gas and air was so good for me. I did have a really bad contraction though, and I took a huge breath in of the gas and air, and then I was sick quite a lot on the bed, so I then had to get out of the bed, and the midwives and my husband changed the bed for us, and then I got back in. It was also absolutely freezing in this room. Their heating had broken, so I was in labour with a cover on and then 3 coats on top of me because it was that cold. I was shivering, it was so cold, which was awful. I can't fault the birthing centre though. The birthing centre and the midwives were absolutely amazing. The room was just freezing, which was not great when you're in labour. Yeah, it got to midnight, I was having gas and air, and my waters broke, which was amazing. Like, the pressure that I had from my waters not breaking was just, I can't even describe how painful that was. So when they broke, I did feel better, although the contractions then intensified, so they were worse at this point. So I was going on the gas and air. I couldn't talk, so people were trying to have conversations and I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't make any noises, I didn't swear, I didn't scream. I was just in a zone and I just didn't want to talk to anybody. So I was just laid on the bed with the gas in there. I did have music on. I took a London Grammar CD and there was a Coldplay CD there, and that was so helpful. As soon as the music stopped, I asked my husband to put it back on because I really felt like that helped. So I was carrying on, and it got to 2 in the morning. So that I was assessed at 10, it got to 2 in the morning, and they assessed me again, and I'd got from 4 centimetres to 9 centimetres, so I progressed quite a lot in that amount of time. So I was so happy, because at this point the pain was really bad that I really just felt like I couldn't carry on with it. So yeah, I was 9 centimetres and I felt like I needed to push at this point. They were running a pool for me, and they asked if I wanted to get into the pool, and I just couldn't think of anything worse than walking to this other room to get into the pool when I was in that amount of pain. However, my husband said, you know you want to get into the pool, you know you want to deliver in the pool, so come on, you can do it. So for some reason I was like, okay. I got up and then I walked to this other room. I got into the pool. As soon as I was in the pool, I was kind of facing, the midwives were around my back, my husband was on this side, I was facing my husband on this side, and as soon as I got in I said, I need to push, and they said, that's fine, if you feel like you need to push, do what your body's telling you to so you can push. So I started pushing. At this point it was about 2:30, so I got into the pool about 2:30, and then I felt really uncomfortable just leaning on the side, so the midwife said, that's okay, just turn around if you're not comfortable. So I turned around and I was facing the midwives with my husband behind me, and I pushed, and my son was born at 3:02. Well, his head was born at 3:03 and his body was born at 3:03. So yeah, so I was only actually in the pool for about half an hour pushing, but it was just amazing. Like, my birth was so straightforward, and I feel incredibly lucky to have that type of labour, because you don't have control over what's going to happen. I think my husband said I had a few screams whilst I was pushing at this point, because that was something else. Pushing a baby out doesn't feel like you're pushing, it feels like, it is very painful. So yeah, all in all it was a really good labour. I had gas in there so I had it at 12, so about 3 hours I had the gas in there. But I can totally see why people do have more than that. It is painful. It's not, I'm not one of these people that's going to say, oh, it's bearable, because it is painful. It was just amazing, and my son came out of the pool sort of swimming out, which was like so amazing to see. We were then able to stay in the pool for a little bit, so we were just in there. They handed my son to me, and obviously it was really emotional, and they put towels on him, and he wasn't crying, he was just kind of looking up and like making this like squishy little face, and it was just, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was so proud of myself for doing it. I know you have no choice but to give birth. You can't stop it once it's going ahead, but once you've done it, you just feel so proud of yourself for like giving birth to this little person. It is absolutely amazing. So we stayed in the pool for a little bit, and then we just sort of went back to the bed, and we spent some time with him, and we were just staring at him and taking lots of photos of him, and he was just amazing. So he was 7 pounds 3 ounces, and he was 54 centimetres in length, so he's quite a long baby. And he had a little bit of hair. His head, the circumference of his head was about 32 centimetres. But yeah, it was just the best experience ever, and I feel, like I said, I feel so lucky to have such a straightforward labour. It was just amazing, and to feel everything and to experience the whole thing was just brilliant, and I'm so happy that we got to have it the way that we wanted to have it. So since the labour, parenthood is very hard but so rewarding. Jack is 8 weeks old now, so he's starting to, well, he's been smiling since week 5. He's smiling lots, he's very alert. My husband thinks he's a bit of a mummy's boy, but boys normally tend to be, I think, anyway. And he's just amazing. He's been packing on the pounds as well. I am breastfeeding, and he just seems to be, well, he's a very hungry baby. He does eat quite frequently. Just get him to show you. So this is baby Jack. He is sleeping at the moment, which every time anyone ever meets him, he is sleeping, and they think, oh, he's such a content child, and he's not that bad. He cries when he's hungry or when he wants his mummy, but all in all, he's not a really whingy baby at all. He could sleep more at night, definitely, but hopefully that will happen soon. So yeah, this is Jack. Ooh. He makes lots of dinosaur type noises as well, which I've not really heard before, but as you can see, he's quite a big boy. Can't really see him. He kind of looks a bit of a cross between myself and my husband, so a lot of babies I think look more one or the other, but he's definitely sort of in between both of us. But I'm absolutely besotted, and of course very much in love with him. He makes all the sleepless nights totally worth it. Yes, that's baby Jack. Looks like he's waking up now. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I'm gonna film another video straight after this one, so that I actually have some videos to put up, otherwise I don't know when I'm going to get around to doing more videos. Let me know if there's anything else you do want me to do. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye!